So hello everyone and welcome to Cone Racing League coverage of round 11 in Tier 4. We are at the unupdated Yas Marina circuit for the last time in Cone Racing League, with 16 drivers ready to battle it out today in this incredibly unpredictable division. Last time out we saw a first time win from Krakow in the division this season, with Bailiff and Zenon joining him on the podium. Zenon isn't here today. But we still have 16 of the boys. Sorry, I'm just going to get the standings up for everyone. We're going to go on board with, I believe that is Spider Rob for the first lap of the day. He is the first out of the pits. So yeah, actually, last week we had Krakow winning his first race of this season, then Shaden coming in P2. Shaden is here in McLaren, as you can see, just there in P9. And then Zenon, who is not here today. I believe there are race bans, I think, for... Zenon isn't able to attend, but there was a race ban for... Just have a look now. We had a very incident-packed race in Tier 4, to say the least. Hopefully we will have a slightly better week this time around. You see Spider going through this very technical Sector 3. Of course, this is the unupdated layout of Abu Dhabi, so a lot of these corners don't really exist anymore, or have slightly been reprofiled. So for example, the corner that he's coming up to now, which is turn 20, is much quicker in the minute. And Spider Rob is going into the pits, not hitting the wall, as he has a quali ban, so we won't go on board with him. We will go on board with Indian Jesus, the man who felt like his championship hopes had been wiped out last time after a devastating last lap crash with Bailiff at turn 5 in Austria. But of course he has a lot of pace, as we've seen. The last time I commentated, he was got pole and won in Jeddah dominantly. So we'll see as he cuts through the first tricky chicane, takes that pretty well. Now goes down into first gear, an unusual choice, up to second on the short shifting, trying to get traction down, and he does get his foot to the floor. Of course he's on a medium tyre, so his lap time will be less than the representative. We'll see how close he can get to the top if he's able to hook it up. Of course Abu Dhabi is a devious circuit, many bouncy curbs that you don't really know what's coming until you've hit them. But Indian Jesus seems to be taking it cautiously. Still a little bit of wheel spin, difficult traction out of, I believe that's turn 9, and now we get to the all-important section. This is arguably the most important complex on the track, as Bailiff retires, as he, I believe, he's crashed actually. He does not have a qualifying ban. I can't see what's happened to him. It looks like he must have lost traction on the, well, it's meant to be flat out the turn 4 section of the track, but he's cleared his traction, and Hedge retires. Hopefully he is on the wheel this time. He had a qualifying ban from last time as well, as he was on the controller, not on the wheels, but hopefully we're going to see him up there this race no matter what he's using. Indian Jesus now is crossing the line. It's a 1:36.5, which I believe is a pretty good time on the mediums. Of course we're going to have to see who comes across next. It's Ash JW, who just about pips him with a 36.4 in the Williams. Chugs is 9/10 behind Indian Jesus in the AlphaTauri with a 1:37.4. So yeah, it looks to be a decent lap from the German driver. His teammate Amar is third with a 5/10 behind his teammate on the mediums. So yeah, looks like a very early lap from Indian Jesus coming across the line. Scott Gay with a representative time of 37.7. MUFC Harvey, his teammate, is going again. We'll see how he takes this complex. Ooh. And Ghost Angel 1 is firmly in the way. Harvey will not be happy with that, and he's been caught on stream. So if you're listening, Ghost, sorry mate. As I believe, is that Greg? Yeah, so Greg has just joined the lobby, so that is our 17 drivers for today. They're all in. Let's see if we can go on board with someone else. There's someone coming through the last sector now. Let's have a look at Scott. Actually a 1:13.6 in representative. I want to see who's... It's Cammy, who's done a 59.0 split on the medium tyre. Takes it fairly cautiously there. He's going to try and swoop through this apex. Goes down to third, and he crosses the line for a 1:37.5. So a decent time. The standout lap of the session for sure is still that P2 lap that Indian Jesus has got down. I think that is an Alpha Tower. Is that Reverend Melvin? Would that be Chugs? He's on an in lap. Try and use the sticks a bit better. I don't think anyone's on a lap. Is Harvey still going after he was blocked? I think he is. Let's see what time the man can set. It's definitely going to be improving, that's for sure. It's a 37.2, which is, you know what, might not be impressive on first glance, but when you consider that he was blocked in Sector 2 and he's on lap old tyres and pretty much everyone else, he's doing well. Okay. See if Chimp's on a lap. He's very low on the ERS, but he looks to be going flat out. It's still running down. He is derating down the straight, which will not be helping him at all. So I'll just give you a rundown for the championship as we watch Chimp tackle the difficult chicane in Sector 2. So currently we have Bailiff, who is retired actually, so it's not a good start for him. But he does have a 36 point lead. No, it is a 26 point lead. Apologies for the mental maths. To Mar, who is P3 currently. Zelen, who is in attendance. Kragol, who is 4th after his win, who is in the pits. He's the only driver who hasn't come out onto the track yet. Shaden is P5, so that is the top 5. And then worth going down to P8 because well, Ozzy is quite relevant actually because he had he's accumulated enough incidents to get himself a race ban for Abu Dhabi, so he will be watching with his hands firmly over head firmly in his shoulders, hoping that likes of Indian Jesus and Cammy don't surpass him because they both have the potential to do so if they do score well today. Just going to see if there's anyone else on a lap. I don't believe there is. Shaden's coming into the pits. It's Zero Freefall actually, I missed that. He's gone up into P5, so he's done pretty well, has Scott. Of course, he's loved racing this tier from the start, so now we're just really hoping to see him get a bit of good luck because it's been lacking for him this season, to say the least. With Scott having recently transitioned to the wheel and the tier 4 admin, so you know, give him a bit of appreciation. He works very hard for this league, and he's taken his corners beautifully on his in lap as well. Ghost Angel is very much down. See Greg, he's just joined the lobby. Big lift through 2, but he's got a nice run down, flat out all the way to first real challenge of the circuit. He's hit the first apex, hit the second apex well actually is Greg, but he's dodgy on the traction there, gets a little bit out to that curb, which is not where you want to be. Bit confused with the gears, but he exits out of the hairpin now, down this 1.2 kilometre straight I believe it is. It's absolutely huge as he comes up to turns 8 and 9. Brake at about 100 metres. Seems to be a bit too early for Greg actually. He trickled through the apex and it's taken pretty cautiously, but he gets a good exit out of turn 9, all the way down to this curve straight. Greg chooses not to take the shortest route. He wants to run it out wide, scrubbing as little speed as possible, and just seems to be quite tentative from Greg. He's getting used to it, but he's hit the apexes there. Lovely apex through there actually. I believe that's the turn 14. Through 15, 16, and now you have to brake early for 17 to avoid getting onto that outside curb, but he's done well there. Keeps it tight and neat through there. No Montana-esque track limits exceeding, but he was a bit awkward from Greg. I believe he is on slightly older tyres as well, which might account for, well, it seems that he doesn't have too much grip, but he's had a good run through there. And he goes up into P12 ahead of Ghost Angel on a 139.0, so still a couple seconds of drift, but it feels like there's definitely time in that lap for Greg. Let's see if there's anyone else out. We'll switch to the tyre. Chugs is actually on the softs now, so let's see what he can do coming into turn 8. Quite a rhythmic downshift there, and it's taken pretty well actually. He wants to get straight on the throttle, accelerating up through the gears now. Unlike Greg, he's taking a much shorter route to the next corner, and he's 2/10 up now, but the last sector is very mechanical grip heavy, so we are looking to see some more improvement. I reckon Chugs has done very well through there actually, taking that complex very nicely, and now we'll sweep through these flat out corners. Looks to be laggy a bit actually. I know his internet isn't the best, but hopefully that will improve as the race goes on. Takes it tight again through, I believe that's 18, through 19 very nicely there. Looks pretty good from Chugs, it has to be said. Keeps it in 5th there actually, and that's allowed for him to get a really nice run. Slightly below the apex, and early on the throttle, but Chugs is going to go P2. The 136.5 purple in the last sector, as I said, it did look pretty impressive, but whereas Indian Jesus, he is 2.5 up on his previous time on the mediums already. This is looking pretty good for the German driver, and there's only going to be more time to find here. I know he had a bit of a wiggly exit coming out of the next corner. It's Cammy goes fastest, making it a Williams 1-2 for now. But of course, drivers have to set their second laps now. I think there's a Mercedes coming up to the line, but we will keep our eye on Indian Jesus for now. Keeps it in 3rd, and again gets a bit wriggly on the exit, although it looks like he had slightly more purchase than he did before. So now he powers all the way down. He's going to take a wide line, and he is 8/10 up. Wow, this is a brilliant lap from Indian Jesus, and of course he is in the last sector. Chugs gained about 8/10. Let's see what Indian Jesus can do. Can he even get into the 34s? That would be amazing. Looking for a solid about 35.7 now, so he's looking to go P1, but how much? Clips the apex very nicely there. Sweeps it through again. This is looking magnificent for Indian Jesus. Goes a little bit wide there. Doesn't hit the wall, but his exit was compromised a little bit. Now turning in just after 50 metres. This is looking brilliant from Indian Jesus. Clips the apex. No wiggle on the exit, and it is a 135.7. So we did actually lose time to his medium lap in the last sector. It feels like there's definitely time in there for the German driver, but still about 6/10 lead. That is fantastic. Anyway, let's see what the others are getting up to. Let's have a look at Scott Gay now. He's coming through the second back straight here. His split is a 58.39, so he's actually 6/10 up now. So Scott looking up to maybe get into that sort of P6, P7 range, jump his team out. Of course, we don't know how much time he has in the last sector. That's not going to help him though. Going all across all of the curve at turn 14, that will have compromised a lot of time for Scott. But we'll see what he can do going on. Oh, he's saved it. Oh, he's gone. A little bit heavy on the traction from Scott Gay, and he doesn't want to go backwards. Ooh. Hopefully he doesn't go backwards. He's just letting the other cars through. CRL free fall now. Let's see if he's on a lap. I think he is, you know. He seems to be low on fuel, but he's got enough to finish this, as I can see from the steering wheel. Let's see what Scott can do now. Coming through turn 20, 4th gear. Lovely from Scott. Very composed driving. Let's see what he gets as he comes across the line. It's P2 for CRL free fall. 4.5 tenths behind Indian Jesus, but that is still a brilliant lap from Scott. So on a 36.2. So yeah, hopefully he can get around though, because I'm not sure he can. There's only 3 minutes 40 seconds left in this qualifying session. He is low on fuel, so he's going to have to take it easy. Let's not cut the track, Scott. Of course he wouldn't. That's my man. So I think we're going to see some guys, most guys are trailing back into the pits. Everyone's got a lap on the board, apart from the 2 banned and the 1 retired driver, who is Bailiff. But for now, it looks like we're just going to have to hold our breath. I think Ghost Angel 1 might be on a lap. His ERS does seem to be on, yeah, so let's see, go through the final sector. If he wants to get a final run in, he's going to have to box, I'm afraid. He seems to have gone very deep. Yeah, he has gone quite deep. As Ghost, of course, it's very easy, deceptively easy, it must be said, to outbrake 7 to that corner. But it's tentative from Ghost, but it's decent. He's got 3 apexes. Slightly missed that one there. Looks like he's just trying to get a slightly quicker lap on the board. That was more from Ghost Angel 1, but he's still going to cross the line and go to P11, so that's decent from the Red Bull driver, as Crago now jumps him on the medium. So it looks like Crago is going either for a top 10 or to start on the ultimate strat, who knows. Scott is unlikely to be able to set another time. Of course, the drives are now trickling out. Right now we're going to have a look. I think that's Cammy who seems to be letting someone go on the straight. He's backing off. But right now we do not have a driver on a lap. CR IV comes into the bits. He's done all he can. He's currently in P2 on the lap he has, but how many people are going to be able to improve? Certainly feel like there's going to be space for improvement in a lot of these guys' laps. Is there anyone on a lap though? Is that Shaden? Yes, Shaden is on a lap. Let's go on board with him, riding through turn 4, sweeping down into this difficult complex. He's 700s up, nearly 8 coming through. Shaden, that's lovely actually. Gets as wide as he can and sweeps into the apex. He's flying throttle slightly early there, maybe not a bit too early for his liking, but he's still got a decent run going down into turn 8. To ride on board with the current driver, hitting speeds of close to 200 miles an hour. He's going to brake just after 100 meters, and he seems to make the apex, clips the curb a little bit, slightly unsteadies the car, but he's got a good run for his troubles. CR freefall retires from the session. He knows he's done all he can, but we're going to have a look at Shaden here coming down. It's a 58.4. He's 3/10 up, but this just looked like a pretty decent lap so far. So let's see what the man has to offer. It's looked like a good run through there, sweeping through turn 14. It's gone a little bit wide. Car understeering a little bit, not quite sticking with Shaden as the tyres heat up through the latter part of this lap. He's going to have to get a braking spot on here, and he does. Brilliant. MUFC Harvey jumps up into P3. He has set exactly the same time as CRL Freefall, but he set it last, so he's sticking in P3, but he might go again. We'll have to wait on seeing that one. Shaden is going to come through the final corners now to get this improved lap on the board. Let's see what it is as he crosses the line. He's only jumped one place, he's gained nearly 6/10, but there is a bit more time that he'll need to find if he goes for a final run here, and I think he is, you know, but we're going to skip over. We're going to have a watch of the current pole man, Indian Jesus, coming across to start his final lap of the session, coming into turn 1, braking about 70 meters in 4th gear, and it's looks very nice there, very clean from Indian Jesus. Switch to turn 2, 3, and back through 4 here. Going to try and get as wide as he can for the chicane of turn 5 through 6, looking nice. Avoids any major drama with the curb. I didn't see how far up he was. Chugs goes into P2 with a 135.9, so he has found some improvement. And now Indian Jesus might feel a little relieved if he knows that Chugs has finished his lap, although I'm not sure if he has. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Indian Jesus now coming up into turn 8. He's going to brake just after 100 meter board. Clips the apex very nicely. Short shifts up into 3rd for the improved traction. And now he goes up through the gears. Once again, it's a German man. It's looked pretty tidy so far. Not super quick, but I reckon he'll still have some improvement there. But he is 3/10 down actually. And we'll see. He did lose some time in the last sector. We'll see what he can do riding through, but that's not going to help him at all. Going through the curb, taking all of the track limits. Looks like it might be slightly more taxing lap to beat for the German driver than it might have initially seemed. Others have finished their lap. Seems to be a lack of improvement. I believe Mar got himself up into P7, but I know Ash is stuck on his banker lap actually. He wasn't able to get another lap on the board. Indian Jesus sweeps through now. It has looked better for him now this time around. And is he going to go faster? He is. He's found 6/10 in that last sector. It's a 135.4, and Indian Jesus. Chugs was on another lap, but I'm not sure if he's found the improvement. That was lovely though. He's going to try and finish it into 4th, but no, it's no improvement for Chugs. He backed off in that last sector a bit, maybe to preserve tyres, but that is it for Tier 4 qualifying. It is once again on pole by a bit of a landslide, it has to be said, 4/10, especially when you know that he could have really improved his lap. But yeah, Chugs in P2, really good result for him. CRL Freefall as well, P3, showing the improved pace that we all know that he has. Halves behind him with the exact same time, and that is all we have time for. But that is Tier 4 qualifying for you, and now we get to the taxing race. I believe 28 laps here, I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, Indian Jesus out on pole by 4/10, followed by Chugs Spams L2, who is 3.5 ahead of CRL Freefall and MUFC Harvey, both on a 36.2. Cammy and Ash making it all Williams front row in P5 and 6 on 36.4s. Mar also had a 0.4 in P7, and then there's a big gap to Reverend Melvin in P8 in the AlphaTauri, who has a 36.9. Shane, the last one to break the 137 barrier. Crago in P10 on the medium, so that's a decent result for him. Scott Gay in P11 on that magical alt strat position. Ghost Angel managed to get a 37.7. Chimp on a 38.8 in P13. Greg in P14, the last two of the drivers to set a lap, and Bailiff, Hedgehog and Spider Rob all failed to get a time in. And now we'll have to see the strategy channels. So while we're waiting, can just confirm, as I have a look at the chat for the first time, that Ozzy and Zen, the two young guns of the league, both do have race bans for this event. Now the countdown begins, and we will set on the formation lap for round 11 of, just clarifying, round 11 of 15 here in Kime Racing League, as Indian Jesus gets everyone set off with pick strategies. Might have been a slightly early ready up. So Scott is on the soft. I believe a one stop is possible here, but a two stop is the recommended option by the game. We'll have to see what guys choose to do. So yes, Scott, free tyre choice, opted for some fresh softs. So what if they are fresh, I'm not too sure. But we should see him jump up the places a bit. Ghost Angel and Chimp opting for the mediums. Greg, Game Centre and Bailiff, the two Alpine cars. Bailiff after crashing, so he'll definitely have a lot of sets available to him, as will Hedgehog and Spider Rob, who also didn't qualify. They are both on the medium tyre for this 28 lap race. I was correct. As Indian Jesus takes us through the second sector. Field a little bit spread out. Looks like Mars taking it a bit easy, which might actually play out of his teammate's hands, because of course he wants to maintain temperature in his tyres, and hopefully he won't have to wait too long on the grid to do so. Yeah, it's a fairly short run down into turn 1. Of course there aren't too many overtaking opportunities there anyway, but we might see a car lunge it down the inside if they see the opportunity. Of course, lap 1, this track is very difficult to overtake, particularly in the third sector, as we saw with Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton in last season's finale in real life. This is not a track built for overtaking, especially in its old layout. The only real opportunities do come on the straights and maybe at the hairpin as well, just before the two back straights. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit of a struggle, but we'll see how people fare. If you're close enough, you can always look for a move. That's and if a gap exists and you don't go for it, you're no longer a racing driver, and that's going to be playing through the minds of some of the boys right now for sure. Taking it incredibly slow as Indian Jesus. Maybe he's gone out hard to get heat in his tyres. It looks like he has from his steering wheel, whereas the others seem to have be going a bit slower. Ghost Angel and Chimp have a little collision. Of course, the field is incredibly slow, so it's very easy to make contact with the cars at such low speed. But now we have, I think Hedgehog will be the last car to line up in P16 as we get ready for lights out here in Abu Dhabi. Nerves running higher than they have all race as we get ready for the lights to go out here. We can't see the lights, but that is 5 red lights here, and it's lights out and away we go, and Indian Jesus gets a decent start, but it looks like Chugs has actually jumped him. So Chugs takes the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and sweeps ahead into turn 1. Indian Jesus, now he's had a really dodgy start in making contact with MUFC Harvey, but he's just about going to have the space to make a move. So down lower, I think Hedgehog has spun. He's had a collision at the first corner. Ghost Angel has dropped a few places as well, but out ahead Chugs leads by 8 tenths. That was a brilliant start for the reserve driver. Let's see, Cyril Freefall's had an awful start. I don't know what's happened. We see a Ferrari of Mar third in the championship careering off into P16 there. That is not what he would have wanted at all, and he's going to have to try and work his way back up, and he spun again. That is not good, and I think he might have put it in the wall and got some damage. That is really upsetting for Mar to see. Hedgehog, meanwhile, is also far behind the pack, so these two are going to have to work their way up together. It's a big challenge for them, although I'm sure we might see a safety car at some point in this race. Indian Jesus has already got the ERS on. He is already charging, trying to get back up with Chugs, who's taken a really early lead here, and he's using all of his ERS down this straight. Chugs is trying to be a little bit more conservative with it, but Indian Jesus now will have a bit of an advantage. Sorry, Chugs will have a bit of an advantage through the third sector, as he will not have a dirty end. Yeah, we can see he's making decent time, although Indian Jesus makes up some decent ground on the exit. Cami's getting very close to Harvey. Harvey looks like he's lost it under... Oh, and he has actually, Harvey, and Cami, opportunistic, but he makes the move round the outside for P3, and now MUFC Harvey has lost touch, and the Cami is out of the DRS at the front too, already out of the 1 second gap, so he's going to need to try and get back in, but of course he won't mind too much as he is up into P3 and has some decent clean air ahead of him. Chug sets the fastest lap, duly so, and every single driver has moved places apart from MUFC Harvey. Although it's been pretty eventful for him as of yet, as he definitely... Oh, and yeah, he looks like he has a really unstable rear. Nearly losing the car at 2 again. He's having to lift off a lot. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe he has rear wing damage of some sort, or maybe just has a really unstable setup. Who knows? But not looking good for him. And it's really not looking good for Bailiff, who's lost the car once again at turn 4. I don't know if his car looks to be handling okay. But Bailiff, again, struggling. So the car's really struggling on the rear end through, especially on the heavy fuel, through that corner. But Bailiff, no, this is not going to be good for his championship hopes. He needs to get back up there as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Chugs out in front leads by just over 6 tenths from Indian Jesus. Doing very well as the AlphaTauri driver. But Indian Jesus has got a lot of straight line speed, seems to be running a lot lower downforce, and he's gaining a lot on these straights even without using so much ERS. Of course, that might pay dividends to Chugs in the last sector if he's able to, as he exceeds track limits a bit there. I'm not sure if he would have got a warning for that. But now Cami, as we go on board with him, is understeering big time. But he's still P3 and he's got the gap up to his teammate who is struggling to keep up with the pace right now with Ash. He's got a train of 5 cars behind him, tailed by Cyril Freefall, who's had a really bad start. I'm not quite sure what happened to him, but he got absolutely swallowed for certain. Now he has to try and make his way back up. Cami already gets a 3-second time penalty, as does Ghost Angel 1, as we see the Haas of I think that was I. Scott Gay getting very wriggly on the exit. These guys struggling to find purchase on these slightly older tyres. Although Scott is on new tyres, it might just be his setup combined with a heavy fuel load, as we see him get a little bit squirming on the curb there as well. Cami, meanwhile, is struggling to keep up. Ash has got himself back into that DRS, crucially, it has to be said, and that is Reverend Melvin and I. Scott Gay have had a collision. It's a 5-second penalty for Reverend Melvin. I'm not quite sure what happened. It's a virtual safety car. Melvin has no wing. I don't believe Scott has either, and he's trying to go side by side with Funny Else Chimp there. I don't know what's really gone on there, but Melvin has no wing, and these guys, it's the virtual safety car that deploys itself for the first time in this race. Must have been a collision through turn 4, but that is really less than ideal for the two drivers. It looks like Cyril Freefall's actually lost out, possibly from some illegal overtakes, or just getting caught up in the thick of it, but that's really unlucky for the Red Bull man once again. But yeah, he is down into P12 from such good qualifying. He's going to need to try and claw his way back up. Speaking of winners and losers, Greg's Game Centre's got himself up into P7. That's brilliant to see from Greg, and he's got a nice little gap between himself and the wingless I'm Scott Gay. Of course, he might even struggle to drive under VSC pace right now. Pretty long virtual safety car. Of course, we're just going to have a look at stops to see who has stopped. So yeah, the bottom 3, Bailiff, Crago and Mar. Crago was on the mediums, of course, and it is away we go again. It looks like a drive-through penalty for Ghost Angel. He is the only one, unfortunately, but that is very unlucky for the Red Bull driver who got himself up into the points. The real life points. Of course, we get points from P1 to P15 here in Home Racing League. But Chugs has got a little gap actually. If he's able to push it enough, he might get the out of DRS, although he looks like he's squirming a little bit through there. Through 4 you have to be very careful because this track is so deceptively hard over the rear end. Oh yeah, Indian Jesus has sent it through the sector, and it looks like, if we just have a look, he should have DRS now. Yes, he does. So the front 2 have already powered away. 3.4 seconds to Cami, who's holding up a train of, well, 3 cars after what happened with Scott Day and Reverend Melvin, who are now both duly in the pits. Scott going onto the hards, Reverend Melvin on the mediums. So we'll have to see what happens there. Is Scott going to try and go to the end and make up for some lost time? Of course, the time he gained from the VSC will help him a little bit, so he might not be a full pit stop behind some drivers. I'm not saying it would have played into his hands, but it might help out a little bit. And that is the Red Bull of Ghost Angel, who is, believe, not served as driver yet, but he has spun at turn 5. Very unfortunate for the man who looked like he was in such a good position before that VSC, but it's all gone horribly wrong for the Red Bull driver. Meanwhile, Chugs leads into sector 3 as we see the guys swooping through that flat out complex, looking beautiful, it has to be said. Indian Jesus now gaining some time as they swoop through turn 19. It's a lovely shot there as we see both cars battling it out. Chug still maintains the lead, but Indian Jesus is a lot closer on this lap. The DRS certainly helping out a lot, doing what it's meant to do for sure. Look back, so yeah, some plateaus forming for certain, so P3 to P6 are all in the train right now, although the gaps are quite sizable. If anyone makes a mistake, they could see themselves slip out of DRS. Of course that might change on the straight, we'll have to see. Greg's Game Centre in P7 right now has got yeah, about 3 second gap behind him to Chimp and then Freefall, who are, and I think Spider Rob is the last driver who hasn't stopped actually, or had some sort of incident. No, Hedgehog hasn't stopped. Ghost Angel is just going into the pits to serve as driver penalty now, which will drop into last unfortunately. And I'm sorry for missing that, but Indian Jesus has overtaken Chugs. He's actually going to try and go rounding outside. He's going to get the DRS. Of course, Indian Jesus has very high wings. He's using his overtake. Chugs is struggling much more on the ERS. But he's going to look to go rounding outside. Is he going to get a car length in front? Indian Jesus backs out, which is probably the clever thing to do. Let Chunks burn his ERS out front, but Chunks maintaining the lead of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix for now. Look very well held out, rounding outside, although I have to say I don't really know what exactly happened. Ash JW, meanwhile, has got the gap, I believe, back down to 3.5 seconds, maybe looking to get ahead of his teammate, who seems to be struggling for pace in comparison to the top 2. Hopefully Ash can try and do a little bit better than Cammy was able to do, but we'll have to wait to see. Of course, Cammy with a penalty already, struggling for track limits, which yeah, are a big ask at Abu Dhabi, very strict, particularly at the corner that Ash is going through now. Any slight infringement and you will be slapped with a warning and eventually a penalty. But now, as I feared, the gaps have increased a little bit. Harvey seems to be derating, which can't be said for the likes of the 2 Williams guys in front of him. So yeah, Harvey again, his rear looks very unstable on board, although he seems to be taking it well. I think Cammy might have had a moment there actually, because Harvey's gained somewhat close to 5/10 on him. So Harvey firmly in the RS. Meanwhile, Shaded, is he able to get back into it? He does gain a few tenths. I think the train will be maintained for now. If we have a look, Shaded struggling for traction, big time, taking the inside line of the hairpin. Meanwhile, let's see Chugs and Indian Jesus going into the chicane. Indian Jesus is going to try and get a little bit of a switchback action going on. Chugs gets a decent exit though. Indian Jesus gets the ERS on. Chugs has barely any ERS, and Indian Jesus is now going to go for the move, try and take advantage of the extra energy he's got. He flies by into the lead in comparison to past Chugs Bams L2, and the lead changes hands once again. Meanwhile, Ash and Shaden going side by side. I don't really know what happened to Ash there, but he might have had a bit of a moment coming out of one of the corners because he's lost 2 positions. All the front 7 drivers on the softs at the minute. But now, yeah, big time lost now again to the front 2. About a second has been lost by this chasing pack. So yeah, and although Cammy looks like he's again nearly pushed Harvey out of DRS, you're going to have to see how each driver takes these corners. But yeah, the gap's very very tentative. DRS very close here. As speaking of DRS, it looks like Chugs has actually lost the DRS to Indian Jesus on this outlap. Indian Jesus must have absolutely sent it through the middle sector, but Chugs is losing time. Can he gain it back? I don't think he can. I don't believe Chugs will have DRS for this straight, but Indian Jesus has lost it. Indian Jesus has gone round here, and he must have wing damage, and Chugs flies ahead into the lead. That is a big relief for him. Indian Jesus, after getting doing all that work to get out of the DRS, has fallen back to the chasing pack, and I believe he will have damage as well. It's incredibly unfortunate for him. Chugs will be licking his lips in glee here, but Indian Jesus is going to be behind a train of 4 cars, and he is struggling with damage. Cammy tries to get a bit of a switchback, and he's going to get him on the exit. Indian Jesus definitely has some severe damage. Let's see what Harvey can do, because we'll need to get past now. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to, as Indian Jesus does have the ERS advantage. He's going to be so slow through this last sector. This could be a blessing for Cammy. He will be thanking his lucky stars he got through here. Oh, but Indian Jesus, yeah, already a bit of a hold-up job for Harvey here. That is an unforced error, and not one you'd expect from a man who proved his consistency in races such as Jeddah, where he led out front all the time, but it looked like he just got on that curb and the car was really quickly lost. But Chugs leads this race by 5.6 seconds, and now the pressure is on him to not make any mistakes. And actually now he's going to go into the pits. He's going to make his first stop, possibly looking for a 2-stop strategy. You'd have to take the stops very long if you wanted to go for a 1-stop here. Cammy coming into the pits. Harvey will stay out. Shaden also stays out, as does Ash JW. These guys are going to have the DRS. Let's see if the other 3 get released into traffic. Indian Jesus, the Ferrari mechanic's going to get ready to give him a swift wing change here. He goes onto the medium tyres, as has everyone else. Actually, no, Chugs and Cammy have gone onto the soft tyres, so they're going for a double soft stint at first, and maybe going to look to go on the mediums, or no, most likely the mediums after this. So now they're going to have electric pace be by far the fastest on the field, as we see MEFC Harvey go straight across there. I don't really know what happened. When I said the field, I meant the track, of course. But MEFC Harvey now has a 5-second penalty for corner cutting, and it seemed legitimate from what I could see. Meanwhile, Cyril Freefall is getting up ahead of Greg's Game Centre, both fairly low on ERS, but even lower on ERS is Funny Ozchimp in the Aston Martin. He has got just 10% battery coming through that apex, gets flat on the throttle, gets a nice run. But Scott is now going to look to try and take advantage of Chimp's derating situation, though he's going to be far too way too far back as Chugs gets past Harvey. I think, yeah, of course Harvey has no wing. I don't really know how that's happened. He might have had an accident at turn 4 again, which seemed to be a bit of an Achilles heel for him and his car, certainly. But he's going to have to be very careful here getting back to the pits, because the understeer will be unimaginable for him. But yeah, Harvey with no nose. Fortunately, he hadn't just stopped, so this is still counts as a pit stop, but he's going to lose a ton of time, especially with the wing changes. Cammy is now getting up to the back of him. Of course, these guys are together, and Cammy is already beaten by about a pit stop. He's going to go down the inside here. That's risky, but it's a good move. Harv didn't exactly want to let him go through, but it seems fine, as Cammy gets through without any penalties or damage. Meanwhile, Chugs is already onto the back of the lead runners, and he's going to go down the inside of Greg's Game Centre. I don't know if Greg let him through or just had a moment there, but that's big for Chugs as he late brakes. Brakes really late. I think that's the latest I've seen him brake for that corner, and he gets a lot of time on zero freefall here. Now looking to have a run at these 2 guys, although freefall looks like he's got a decent exit. MEFC Harvey is coming out of the pits now in P13, so pretty unfortunate for him after he was running right in the middle of that chasing pack. He's going to have to hope for a safety car or some blistering pace to get up into any sort of decent level of points right now. Meanwhile, Chugs is going to go for it on freefall, and he gets the move done. Is he going to get moved done on Chimp? He's going to have to send it. He is going to send it. No, he doesn't. He's a bit clever. Chimp goes a little bit wide, maybe anticipating the move, but he goes so slow through there. He gets a little snap, and Chugs makes contact with his rear end. I'm not sure if he will have damage there, but he's got the ERS on. Is he going to go running outside? This will be an absolutely incredible move. Chugs with the extra traction. He's going to have to be careful about this. He lifts off and he makes the move. Of course, but Chimp's going to want to go side by side with him, and they make contact, and Chimp is in the wall. and it looked like a racing incident. I feel like Chimp just understood a little bit into him as Hedgehog as well. Getting used to the wheel, unfortunately he does hit the wall and it is round. Really unfortunate for Hedge here. It's been a pretty dire race for him, unfortunately, just coming out the pits on those fresh hard tyres, very cold, it has to be said. But yeah, not ideal for Hedgehog. Meanwhile, Chugs is out in the lead. He's getting 1.8 seconds on CRL IV S6. Of course, he's slightly blessed with what happened to Chimp. He can now run out on his own, although without the DRS, he still will have no dirty air. Try and maximise the pace from the softs. I think everyone who's on the softs, well, I say everyone, maybe Free Fall and Greg's Game Centre, they might be looking for a one-stop, because from what I know, it is possible if you really extend your softs. But of course, I can't see how much they're wearing. You can only really see the pace drop off, and Free Fall has lost a lot of time to Chugs. Of course, they weren't too far off in qualifying, although Chugs might have a little bit of a pace advantage. It certainly won't be as significant as the pace deterioration we're seeing from Scott here. But once he gets into some new tyres, I'm sure his pace will be right back up there, and he'll try and work his way through the field once again. Meanwhile, Chimp is struggling. He stayed out with the wing damage that he got from the collision. And Ash JW is going to look for the move around the outside. I think Chimp will still be liberating, but so is Ash. Is Chimp going to go down the inside? No, he doesn't. He lets Ash through, and now he might hold up the cars behind in the middle, in the final sector, sorry. Spider Rob is on older tyres, and it seems to be holding up Shaden a little bit. But Shaden's going to get a good exit now. He's going to go on the inside. He's going to have to lift, and he cuts the corner a little bit to avoid him, but I think that was a little bit avoidable. I'm not sure if he'll be able to get that removed. Shaden is so frustrating, stuck behind two slower cars in the final sector. Chugs dips below the 140s on a 139.7, sets the fastest lap. He is absolutely flying out there. Shaden has to cut across again, and he's going to have to go down inside. It looks incredibly awkward, but Shaden's working his way through carefully. Chimp goes wide, and Shaden does get up into P6, but he's lost 3.5 seconds to Ash JW. Of course, I think his moment on the exit of turn 9 must have cost him there. Meanwhile, Cammy is close to the back of Scott. Freefall. There should be a fairly easy move. Cammy getting the ERS on straight away. Harvey sets the fastest lap of the race, as you might expect on the fresh mediums with a new front wing. But now Cammy Judy does go ahead of CRL Freefall here. Has a 2/10 advantage, but he has no ERS. Will Freefall, who's got a lot more ERS than Cammy for certain, will he have a look back at him? It looks like Cammy's got a much better exit, as of course he's on much fresher tyres. And I don't believe Freefall will be challenging the Williams down into turn 11, I believe. Let's see if there are any battles going on. Meanwhile, Bailiff, who we haven't looked at all this race after his incident at turn 4, is going to go for it on Chimp here. He's on slightly fresher tyres, of course, with no damage, and he does go down the inside, but it's slightly too careful. The Chimp is really slow through that sector 3 in comparison to Bailiff, who is going to be struggling here a bit in this last sector, as he is behind the Aston Martin, which is really not where he want to be at all. Chugs out, gaining another second on Cammy over the last couple of laps, so looking really encouraging for him. He's going to have to pray that there aren't any safety cars so he can continue the strategy as normal. Meanwhile, Cyril Freefall and Greg Game Centre are going into the pit. Freefall selects the medium tyres. Is he going for a one-stop? I believe he must be, as Greg's Game Centre must be as well, if he puts on the medium tyres, and he has. So these two might be the only guys looking for a one-stop right now, as Greg's Game Centre has no helmet, which is interesting. Slightly unsafe from the Alpine though, as MUFC Harvey does jump them, and he's probably going to have to try and one-stop on his mediums, because otherwise he's going to have no chance of getting any decent points. But right now, if others in front of him stop, he might be able to get in front of him. He seems to have very good pace, improving on his fastest lap delta. But he goes slightly wide there. Freefall has got out ahead of Mar, which will be important for him, as he is on fresh mediums, whereas Mar has been wearing his tyres, using his tyres for 9 laps. And now Freefall's next hurdle isn't for about 6.5 seconds up to Spider Rob. We'll have to see how that develops, see how quickly the gap comes down. Also, what's very impressive is everyone is still on the track, still competing after 12 laps of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, so long may this continue. Hopefully we don't see a race marred by incidents and safety cars, which bar a couple of collisions we really haven't, so good stuff from the Tier 4 boys today. See, there is not one gap under a second, so everyone is fairly distant right now. We'll just have a look at Chug, see how he's taking everything in comparison to everyone else as he actually downshifts there a little bit. Ooh! Is he an AI? Looks like he's really desynced his Chugs. He's still gaining time on Cammy though. I think Chugs might just be have a very dodgy connection, as Cammy doesn't seem to have gained anything. Cammy's actually low on fuel. I'm not sure if that's deliberate from him. Is there anyone else who's down on fuel? Or as we see Scott Gay spin as he gets the penalty, and it looks like we see his a fragment of his Uralpi from William Scott struggling for traction again with hard tyres, and he's going to have to peel into the pits here. Has to avoid that the outside barrier, but he's going to have to come in now. He's probably going to get the mediums on until the end. Chugs. Looks like his car's just about connected again. No crazy wheel movements as he's coming very calmly through the last sector. It's looking good for Chug so far. But of course he has 15 laps where anything could happen. His chances could be impeded by a safety car. So let's get on for his first win of the season right now. Cammy is still low on fuel. Must refrain for a safety car actually, because unless this is deliberate underfueling, and I don't think it is, because if I look at his indicator it looks like it's much lower than it was before. He's on minus 0.1. He's going to have to pray for a safety car. As of course he has no DRS to save fuel behind. No other cars. He's driving his own race right now, and as I have found out in some league races myself, the fuel goes down like like nothing you'd expect really. I believe Matt Rowney qualified in P3. If we just look at the position changes actually. So yeah, Bailiff has gained 9 places even after an incident, which is very impressive. Spider Rob's also gained 9 places. They are both. Oh no, Bailiff has stopped actually. I don't believe Spider Rob has, although Bailiff stopped very early onto another set of medium tyres, so he's going to have to try and make up. He's going to have to make another stop unless he can pull off a miracle here. But yeah, Shaden in P4 has gained 5 positions, although he's lost touch to Ash now. 5-second gap, which after that hold up behind Funny Oschim really didn't benefit him at all, it has to be said. Oh yeah, Chugs is lagging. Yeah, Matt Rowney did qualify in P7 actually. I was wrong. I think he was P3 at some point at the start. But yeah, he did lose some positions in qualifying. Who's that from? Mr. BT. The world's greatest Tier 1 driver. Let's have a look at Harvey actually, because of course he has got the fastest lap of the race right now. He is arguably the fastest man. Well, he doesn't. Crago does actually. I missed that. Apologies. On the Crago's on fresh softs, which makes some sense. Harvey's on full up on mediums, and he's all over the back of Spider Rob in that Alfa Romeo. Gains him in every braking zone. He's have to be careful on his braking. Spider Rob. Harvey will be thanking his lucky stars that Spider Rob has peeled off into the pits now. 13 lap old mediums. Time to get some new boots on for the Alfa Romeo. I wonder what he'll stuff onto that, because I don't think the softs can make it this long unless you pull off an absolute miracle. Just have a look actually, I'm quite curious to see. It looks like he's going onto a set of the... That is the red band soft tyres for Spider Rob, so we'll have to see if he can make that work. As that Chugs is pulling out, it looks like a very comfortable drive for the AlphaTauri man. Of course, the only car who was really able to keep up with his pace is Indian Jesus. He was in P5 now. He's made some good progress back up as arguably the fastest man on track earlier on. Recovering from a very unfortunate first sequence of events really. And he's up on his time as well. getting really close to back of Shaden. They're on the same age tyres, but it seems like Indian Jesus does have a bit of a natural pace advantage over Evan Decision. Short shifting into third, very nice through the gears. Is that Cammy spun? I think Cammy did have a moment there. I didn't keep an eye on the yellow flag, but something did come up, and Cammy has lost the place to Ash JW. The gap's only extended to 2 seconds, so I feel like he might have had a bit of a moment, or let Ash through. Maybe he's trying to get in the DRS actually. He might be trying to get in the DRS to save fuel. That would be very clever from Cammy. Although he needs to actually get back in the DRS of his teammate. I'm not sure if they're on the same wavelength. I'm not sure if they're communicating. Cammy gets all out of shape on the exit there. See Ash's telemetry, see if he's going to try and let his teammate get into that DRS. I don't think Cammy's had a few moments there. He's not been able to get in the DRS, so that's not going to be helping him letting his teammate through, unless they've had some sort of upper agreement. But yeah, one thing to note is that I have said that Chugs is dominating. What I haven't realised is that both Shaden and Ash, unless he gains a lot more time, will most likely jump in. As Chugs will have to stop again. Of course, he's on 7 lap old softs. They are not making it another 12. Unless he's the greatest tyre whisperer of all time. And it looks like they might have outstayed their welcome on the track, to be honest. It looks like Ash is at least level with him, and it seems like once the mediums go level with the softs in the race, it is a very short amount of time until the medium pace passes that of the softs. So just have to see how this develops, but I feel like Ash will be getting a lot of time sooner than Chugs might want. He might have to go on that set of mediums that he needs to go on a bit sooner than he anticipates, so he doesn't lose too much time. I think the mediums can make from now. Well, it's 11 laps to go, and Bailiff is well, he's got 12 lap old mediums, and Mar has 13 lap old mediums, so they can definitely make it this length of time. Cammy has gone to the pit, so he was also on a double soft strategy for the first 2 stints. He's now going on to his set of mediums to complete his final stint of the race. He's going to want to be in someone's DRS so he can try and save that fuel, because if he trickles through that last sector, of course it'll be hard to pass him, but don't think it will be too hard for the tier 4 boys to just kind of wriggles through that very deceivingly difficult pit exits. But now he comes up into P7 and he's going to have to try and make some time up. One thing to note is that he got his 3 second penalties very early on and has not received any penalties since, as we have an Alpha Tauri going slowly. Is that Reverend Melvin? Yes it is, and he's going to come to the pits. See how all his tyres are. I think he might have had some damage there. 12 lap old mediums. I think I can see just in a distance the Alpha Tauri boys bringing out a new nose for a driver, so yeah. Suspicions confirmed. Chugs has lost a second this lap. He's going to want to try and box. What I do worry is that when he boxes, he'll be near other cars, and that might be slightly, well, with his current connection, hopefully he doesn't cause an incident or cause for either himself. Wait, Ash has gone into the pits. So Ash has boxed, meaning that I think he probably could have gone all the way. Of course, he can see the way I can't. He goes into another set of mediums to see out these last 10 laps. Not sure if this was necessary for him, but I have to wait and see. Of course. Meanwhile, Freefall is on the back of Bailiff, who's on much older tyres, getting run down through turn 3, 4, going quite wide as Freefall actually understeering in the dirty air of the Alpine driver. But he has, he's probably want to try and actually get ahead of Bailiff as we have a Haas run. That's MEFC Harvey. Oh no, he's lost it again. That's really unfortunate. Again at turn 4, his setup not built for that corner whatsoever. But the Manchester man, that's really unfortunate for him as he goes back down to P10. It doesn't look like he has damage. Seems to be turning just about okay. But certainly a very wriggly rear end. Meanwhile, Scott Freefall, I think, did he lose? As we looked over at MEFC Harvey, I think CRL34 lost some time there. He might have had an incident or backed off well, he wouldn't have backed off on the straight, there's no way he would have. But he's now back all the way down into P9, gets on the inside of Mar. He's going to want to try and make this move quickly because of course he is going to have slightly faster tyres, and he looks down the inside of Crago to make a bit of contact, but luckily nothing doing. Oh, and Crago is all the way around, got slightly too wriggly on that curve, and the curves of Abu Dhabi again proved incredibly difficult for the tier 2 drivers to handle. Anyway, Chugs is just coming out of the pits now on his last stint of this race. Is Indian Jesus as bailiff? Don't think it's a safety cut, but he's had a 10-second penalty for corner cutting, and he is out of the race. I don't know if he got terminal damage or he pressed retire. He's up against the wall. I couldn't see if his tyres were off or not. You can only wonder what happened to Bailiff, but he is out, and that is not good for his championship at all, as his rival Indian Jesus is in P3, and I feel like Indian Jesus does have the racecraft and ability to manage his tyres to maybe get a good result here, maybe go for the one stop. He has Ash behind him he has to worry about, of course. He has 3 seconds of penalty, Shaden has 6. They're on the same tyre age right now, but Chugs is out ahead, 1.3 seconds into the lead he is. Excuse me. And oh wow, and he just gets so close to the back of Shaden late on the brakes here, and this is only going to cost him time to Chugs lose any chance of him really being in touch with the AlphaTauri driver. Just late braking from Indian Jesus once again, but Shaden holding him up in his that last sector, exactly what a Ferrari man would not have wanted here. Every race counts for him right now, 7th in the championship, when he definitely has the pace to be right up there. And this is a big race for him today, as will the remaining 4 rounds after this. Powers up. Still behind Shaden, not able to get ahead in that last sector, but as I predicted, there's a yellow flag. Gonna have a look at that. I believe it's Chimp, who has spun at the exact same corner that Crago did. The outside curb. Oh, Indian Jesus retires! Indian Jesus is out of the race. That is absolutely incredible. It might be a safety car, I'm not sure. He has crashed at turn 4. So challenging for these boys once again, and that is an absolute disaster. As bailiff DNS, as he had a chance to capitalise, Indian Jesus is out of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix after bad fortune, after bad moment for him. It's all culminated in the DNF. That is terribly unlucky for the Ferrari driver, and he will be devastated with that. And that might just be his championship down the drain, it has to be said. But yeah, 11 alcohol tyres, didn't really grip up to the track as he might have expected, pushing very hard to get ahead of Shaden, get a nice run on him, but it all proved too much. After one unforced error, I believe that is another, unless of course he went side by side with Shaden, but I don't believe he would have, because he didn't seem very close to him after turn 1. It will all be revealed later. And then Crago will have to focus straight back on the race, although that is quite really unfortunate to see. Feel very bad for Jesus there, as Crago gets ahead of MEFC RV up into P9 after his spin earlier. His Chug sets the fastest lap, Shaden comes into the pits. Shaden coming out on the fresh softs, he's going to be a rocket right now. He's just behind CRL34, of course he does have penalties, but will he be able to... One yellow flag is that hedge again. He's a few laps down now, of course he's just getting to grips with the wheel. Completely understand the situation, everyone who's made a transition has been there at some point. But yeah, commiserations ahead as Indian Jesus leaves. He will be absolutely furious. As Shaden is already getting close to the back of free fall. Will he go for the move this straight? It certainly looks like he will. So he's understeered a lot actually. He gets on that curve, but the grip saves him there. He doesn't have any little wiggles. Going to try and avoid using ERS. Free fall is not using ERS either. Shaden's going to go down the inside, and it's a simple move for the Brit. Moves himself up into P4. Of course, he has to try and get out of that DRS and then extend the 6-second gap to everyone behind him. But of course, free fall, well, he is struggling already. Shaden's flying ahead. He's already gained 1.3 seconds. So it looks likely for now, unless that was just a big mistake by Scott, that Shaden will push up far enough up into it. Let's go back to tyres. Cracker and MBC Harvey still fighting. Two guys who I feel like could be much higher up there. Of course, Cracker got P10 on the mediums in qualifying, and then both guys have had a number of incidents today, especially Harvey has had two very unfortunate spins, or three unfortunate spins at turn 4. Might have set up far from planted, as Harvey is getting really close to the rear of Crago, as Spider Rod up there on the slightly older soft tyres. He's going to be struggling for grip as he comes into the pits. Indeed, he may have had damage actually. Oh, he's gone wide, is he? I think he must have reset to the track automatically, or reset to the pits, but it looked like he was going far too wide there. There's also Ice Scott Gay is running out of fuel. Let's have a look at Cammy's fuel situation. He is very much down. Just look how much by, about 0.3 or something. So I feel like Cammy will be running out. I mean, possibly even on where he is now, if he, because this is the longest. Well, it's more than half the lap done. Sector 3 is just slower because it's more technical, but Cammy is going to have a big gap. He's got 7 seconds of Shaden now, but that is going to rock it down for sure, as Shaden has gained about 2 seconds on free fall in this lap, which is really quick pace from McLaren. But Scott is no slouch. And Harvey, who got his first penalty of the race, Crago cannot be said the same for. More than half the drivers, just over half the drivers, keeping it clean today. As Harvey is 3.5 points up in his lap. These guys still have a lot of pace in these tyres, but unfortunately it's not really being, I can't really see it, it's not being shown right now. James gets the fastest lap by 1:38.5. We're almost getting alongside Quaggle in that wiggly last sector there. And there's a yellow flag again. Is that... what's happened there? I think Ghost Danger 1, he is ghosted as Mar shoots past to lap him. I think he... don't know if he has damage. Yeah, he's lost an end plate. So he must have made contact with the wall, might have spun round. But it's his left end plate, which indicates that he did spin into the wall. MUFC Harvey and Craggle are going side by side. These guys having a fantastic battle. We're going to have a look at this for the remaining few laps, as Harvey did go very wide there. If it gets a decent exit, Craggle on ERS, he has much more than Harvey does. Looks like it should be a straightforward pass to him as he catches up with the half, stays into the slipstream, peels out at the last moment, tucks back in and takes P8 once again in this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Mar, just gonna, I won't look at him, but he's got 20 laps on those mediums. If he brings it to the end, it would be absolutely brilliant driving from him, but you know, you can't really be sure of how close he is to puncturing right now. He's certainly not going to have much grip in those tyres. And you see Harvey still remains within 2/10 of Craggle. These guys hammer and tongs through these last 5 laps. Harvey braking very late. Looks to have some very assured pace. Ghost Angel 1 gets passing relative to speed in the pit lane. Might get the fastest lap here. Go into some fresh softs. He does, yeah. Oh, of course, after his wing change. from the aerial angle. Zooming through turn 4, let's see if there are any complications for Harvey there. No, he seems to have kept it pointing in the right direction, but he's got the slipstream now. Crago's slower than Harvey. I mean, Harvey's tailgating him all the way, and he's tried to get a little run on the inside as the Haas driver seems to have some brilliant pace. He has one lap fresher tyres than Crago, but I wouldn't have expected him to have this much of a pace advantage. As he gets up ahead into the lead, into P8 now, excuse me. Well, Cammy has lost out to free fall on newer tyres. Don't know if he had an incident, but it's looking less than optimal for the Williams driver. I think his Hedgehog retires from the session. Is that going to be a safety car? It is a safety car. It's a safety car on lap 25, and Chugs will be mortified, although he might have the gap to make a stop onto the fresh soft tyres. But what looked like an easy win for him, well, it's late drama here in Tier 4. Freefall comes into the pits. That is an absolute blessing for Wee Cammy, who will come on and select the soft tyres. Matt Rowney will be thanking his lucky stars as well. He'll go straight into the pits, of course, on those 21 lap old mediums. You can even see the degradation on the right. But that is big. I get a feeling that Crago and MUFC Harvey might stay out. I don't think they are. Crago, MUFC Harvey, I'm not sure about that pit entry, but he was going to stay out and then saw his rivals coming in and opted to do so himself. These guys have to get all the way round to the pits now. As Ash has actually pushed on his Delta, tried to gain some time back from Chugs. Shaden may have, of course we don't know, Shaden can afford to go on to a new set of softs if he needs to. As even 3 laps of this track makes a really big difference, must be said. Well, this is going to be a sprint race and a half. Reminiscent of Nicholas Latifi crashing, someone who wasn't really in the race at all, it has to be said. It's now brought everything into the balance here. And guys who haven't really had the best of luck today, or the best, well, it's all in the balance now really. Yeah, the best of luck or in the better position for the majority of the guys. Don't know who's been lapped. I think High Scott Games, Ghost Angel 1 are going to be out of it, unfortunately, as they have been lapped, and therefore will not be able to... Oh wow, Chugs nearly overtakes a safety car. Chugs has stayed out. That's a bad decision, I think. Ash goes onto the softs, and now he's going to be all over him. It's going to be reminiscent of the end of the 2021 season. He's just got up to the safety car. Feel like it might be a 1 lap showdown. I'm not sure if it has to go in this lap. We'll wait and see for that one. The gap's so spread out as everyone's stopped at different times here. But yeah, it could be a big opportunity for the likes of Freefall and Ash to get it up. Maybe into P1, who knows. Definitely shout for a podium for a few guys here. Just have to wait and see how it unfolds. Of course, Abu Dhabi not notoriously good for racing, but everyone's going to be fighting as hard as they can for positions here. So don't be surprised to see a few moves slung down the inside when you'd least expect it. Oh, and MGFC Harvey, oh, that's bad of him. He's just gone into the pits, and the safety car will be in this lap. And that's really questionable, to be honest, because they're going through the third sector now, and guys like Freefall, he's coming through the field is so bunched up, and Freefall definitely had the limiter on. Oh, that's horrific luck. That's really horrific luck. It looks like it's going to be a 3-man race then. 4 people, and we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, that's poor, to be honest, because barely anyone's caught up. Well, no one's caught up to the safety car really. Have a look at Chugs. Just 3 cars ready to go here. It's great. Game Centre gets a penalty. Trying to catch up in vain. Chugs is lagging a lot. He's going to go on the exit, is he? Now he goes. And Shaden's already got a run on him now. Is he going to try and look for the outside? Chugs moves off to cover the inside, and he gets ahead. But now Ash has got a brilliant switchback. It's contact between the three of them. Ash has to back out there. Of course, he's going to have the freshest tyres. He knows he can go again. Shaden having a look on the outside now. Is he going to brake a bit later? Ash brakes very late. Shaden a bit earlier on the brakes than he might have expected. But now they're going to go into the hairpin. Chug seems to be desyncing a little bit. This is not too good to see at all. Bit wobbly on the exits for the two drivers. But the ERS is powered on. These guys all have maximum deployment available to them. Shaden goes running outside, takes the provisional lead of this Grand Prix, but now Ash JW, he's going to brake early, going to look to get a bit of a switchback move. Lewis Hamilton-esque, or at least what he tried to do. Oh, and he's a brilliant move! And Shaden went wide. Chug spams L2, made contact with him, and what looked like an easy win is slipping away with him. I don't know if he got damaged there, but Ash brilliantly anticipated that as a cracking move from him, and he goes up into the lead of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Fantastic racing there, and now he's going to have to power ahead. He probably wants to turn that ARS off just to be careful on traction, but there's only one lap left of this Grand Prix, as the gaps are, of course, these guys are on very different states of tyres. Gaps are widening out like crazy right now. As we'll just have a little look back. 3-4, it looks like he's secure in P4. And it looks like Cammy, does he have enough fuel? He does, just. Only 1.2 laps though, so he's going to have to be careful he doesn't run out right at the end. Ash powers ahead. Looks like it's going to be a win for the Williams man if he can just keep it neat through these last 21 corners. CRC IV sets the fastest lap, that's ideal for him. That's going to be an extra point unless anyone can beat it on the last lap, and you fancy Ash to do so right now. He is up on his time. Is Chugs, of course there's going to be no DRS in these last two laps. Chugs is probably going to be able to hang on for P2 here with Shaden's penalties unless he makes a mistake or gets penalties of his own, who knows. Of course the unpredictability of this Grand Prix has been incredible right now, especially with the incidents with Inky Jesus and Bailiff as well. So yeah, but Ash is taking it fairly easy through. Just got 1.5 sectors left to go now. Going to hopefully be pushing for the fastest lap. See if he can nick it off. 3-4 was Harvey, so that's a very decent time with 37.2. That'll rival some of the stuff we saw in quality, so yeah, not sure if Ash will be able to match that, though. He's 1.1 up in the middle sector and goes through with his ERS on. That's unconventional to say the least. Have a look back, see if there are any battles going on. See Crago, can he get Greg's game centre on track? Of course Greg has penalties, Crago does not, but we all know that, you know, Greg could get a penalty removed. He'd definitely like to get the overtake done on track, as Greg gets a bit dodgy out there. And now Crago's going to have a look at the inside. .300 up, DRS gets enabled as JW wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Chugs finishes in P2. What really should have been a win for him. He made the mistake, he didn't go onto those soft tyres, and Shaden comes across the line in P3. 3-4 was only 3 tenths off a podium. Oh, that's devastating for him. That is devastating for CRL 3-4. Oh, don't really know what to say to that. He was so close, had so much pace, but didn't quite work out for him in the end. Cammy across the line in P5. Ma in P6. Crago is he did get ahead of Greg's game center as we move to Ash. P7 there. Greg finishes off in P8, getting points, so top 10 there. Spider with a good result in P9 actually. And Chimp will take the final IRL point position in P10, but Harvey comes across in P11. I don't know who got the fastest lap there. Harvey does maintain the fastest lap, so he will get an extra point. And there we go, it's finished. But that was what looked to be a fairly straightforward result, thrown wide open. You know, you only wish that we could have had more cars battling out, although the 3-car battle right at the end was very entertaining. But yeah, we see Ash take his rightful spot on the top of the podium. Great drive from him, coming from, I believe he might have been P5 on the grid, P6 on the grid, so it's a good result from him. Joined by Chug Spams L2, what could have been for him, you know. Definitely had potential, that result. and Shaden takes the last spot on the podium. We're going to get these guys in for interviews now. But yeah. Right, it should be in now, hopefully. Couldn't add some players because of their settings, unfortunately. I don't know who that would have been. Just have a look. Couldn't add Shaden or... Oh mate, just gonna try and... Do you have the other two as friends on PSN? Ash and Shaden? Hi mate. Do you have Ash or Shaden on PSN because I can't add them? Okay. Don't worry about it.
Gents.
Hello mate, we'll just wait for... We'll start with you actually, Shane, as Ash joins, so that is perfect. I'll just leave the lobby and get the cars up. Give me 1 second, please. Okay, so we'll start with you, Shaden, mate. Well done. Congratulations on the P3. Good to see you up there. Second podium in 2 races, so great job as well. Talk me through your thought process that race and how you felt when that safety car came out right at the end.
Oh, I don't think I've raged at the game ever as much as I did. I was absolutely fuming. Couldn't believe it. But yeah, luckily it went in, a lap later, so I managed to keep the gap. But yeah, it was just stupid penalties. I thought it'd cost me again. Last week they cost me 6 seconds. It was, just silly. Unforced errors again, so I need to try and get rid of them from my driving and hopefully be a P1 rather than a P3. So, but yeah, happy with another podium. So slowly creeping up towards the World Drivers' Championship, especially with the bans and crashes out that happened today. So yeah, really happy.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that might actually move you at least into the top 3, possibly into P2 of the championship. So tell me how you feel about that. Of course, Bailiff DNF today, so very healthy points haul for you. Do you reckon you could still have a little chance at getting your nose in to win it right at the death?
I mean, you never know. I mean, I've been pretty consistent all year. I think my worst finish has been P12, so with a few podiums thrown in. I mean, my qualifying, I'm not the quickest driver. As you can tell from my qualifying, I rarely qualify in the top 10, but yeah, race pace and consistency, not managing not to spin, I think has been key for me this year. Kind of overtaking people when they're rejoining the track's been my best strategy so far this year.
Yeah, keeping it on track is certainly super important because race pace and consistency are above everything else. But yeah, well done to you today, mate. Hopefully we can see you have a late championship charge at Bailiff, who's looked dominant at points this season. Hopefully we can get your name in as a bit of an underdog story in the last few races.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. So we're going to go to our second place finisher, Chugs. Normally anyone would be happy with a second place finish in a league race, but from what we saw, you looked dominant out there. The only man who was really able to keep up with Indian Jesus off the bat, and then after he spun. But I do have one big question for you, mate, and it is why didn't you pit under the safety car?
I didn't pit because if I was to pit, I'd be on very worn softs. And I thought maybe the lap car wouldn't be overtaken before we would go racing.
That makes sense, man. Did you even consider it, or how old? Do you know how old your softs would have been? Would you have had to put the old set on? Sorry.
I think that would have been 20-something%.
So yeah, that's still a disadvantage, to be fair. Well, very unfortunate for you, to be honest, mate. You looked like you had that wrapped up. What was your thought process when a safety car came out right at the death as well? It was lap 25.
I thought about the same thing that happened in 2021, the real F1 race. I was just hoping it went in as soon as it could, so then they wouldn't catch up and could get a right win. But I was just very gutted at the end when the safety car came out.
Of course, man. Well, you other than that, you for the 25 laps, you drove a brilliant race. What was your talk me through your battle with Indian Jesus and what you were thinking when he spun it? Because I definitely wasn't expecting it. He'd looked very composed, but he made a really crucial mistake. So yeah, what were you thinking when that happened?
I thought when he got in front, I wouldn't have caught up, and I didn't even know that he was gonna spin. But when he spun, I actually, honestly, I didn't know what to say. I was like, he spun. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's just, don't know what to say. I think if he didn't spin, I think he might have had a way better race.
Of course, as we saw with Shaden, not spinning is really key, especially in this division where everything's so unpredictable. But yeah, it's unfortunate for you, Matt. Of course, second, great points haul, but unfortunately you didn't get the win today. Hopefully we can see you right up there because your pace was excellent today. But now we are going to talk to the winner, Ash JW. Congratulations to you, mate, starting from P6, I believe. And I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked these two. Talk me through your thoughts when the safety car came out, because I feel like it might be a lot more positive than it was for these two guys.
Yeah, well, I knew after my second pit stop when I was on the mediums I wasn't really catching at all in second, and as soon as the safety car came out I knew I had to pit, no doubt, because no one's here to finish second. And I knew I could go for the win as long as I got fortunate with when it came in, and luckily both me and Shaden were coming down the long straights as it said it was coming in, and we knew we could catch in the last sector. I think that was the key, to be honest. It was just perfect timing.
Yeah, man. Talk us through your we got your penultimate lap overtake right on board. It was beautiful. Could see you lining it up from how early you broke, but did you anticipate the contact, or were you just hoping to maybe get alongside because you flew past?
I knew that they were going to go in. They were going to make the corner quite tight for each other, obviously going for the win. So I knew if I hung back, broke a little bit earlier and just set up the corner to exit as fast as I could, and I could get up the inside. Obviously the only thing I wasn't accounting for was that obviously they'd be coming out the corner at the same time, so I had to go quite wide to avoid them. But yeah.
Well, it was brilliant,
probably the
mate.
best move I've made, to be honest.
Damn right. You should definitely sub it to overtake of the week. I'm sure it will get a lot of votes. If our fourth place finisher today, CRL IV can get his act together with that. But that remains to be seen. I've just got one question for you. It doesn't really relate to the race result in the end, because I was just curious, because a lot of the guys seem to be on about 10 lap old mediums, and I was thinking that, so you were on 10 lap old mediums, I think on about lap 19, and you opted to go for a second stop onto the mediums. Did it ever cross your mind that you could have maybe done a one stop, as there were drivers who took their tyres like 20 laps even?
I did think about it, but then I was cooking my tyres quite a bit, and I knew I didn't think they'd last and they'd drop off quite quick. So I knew I'd had to pit again, and then obviously everything that came after it didn't really affect anything, and I got lucky with the safety car, so...
Didn't matter, and of course, well, luck is a bit of luck is key. Is when you drive a good race, it's about being in the right place at the right time, and you certainly were today, mate. So congratulations.
Cheers,
yeah, man. So that's going to be it for Cone Racing League coverage of Tier 4 in Abu Dhabi today. Congratulations to our podium finishers, Ash, Shaden and Chugs. Hopefully we will see an even closer race next time in Azerbaijan, I believe. So we will see you then. Thank you.